What's up, YouTube? Georgia Silverhunter back with part 2 of our massive customer roll coin roll hunt. What you see in front of us is over $100 in nickels. These nickels came from 2 different Wells Fargos. I got $100 worth of one, and I can't remember how many rolls I got from the other. I know that the bank that had the fewest numbers of rolls was responsible for this Castaway Silver Slipper roll that I'm very eager to get into. Just looking at the enders, the nickels look really, really old. As you can see laid out in front, we've got lots of different types of wraps that make up this box. So I'm hoping this is from a bunch of different people. So we'll have every opportunity to find potentially V nickels, Buffalo nickels, War nickels, error of variety nickels like over mint marks or repunch mint marks, double dies. We'll be looking for all that good stuff in this hunt. I do have a document in my description down below that has everything that I'll be looking for in this hunt. As usual, I do have my handy little scope ready, and I am just dying to get into these rolls. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do these first since I already had them pulled out, but I will get the camera up and start filming and bring you guys in when we find something interesting. Let's get to it. So we are going to start with the Castaway's Silver Slipper roll. I did confirm it is from a casino. I did not look to see the details and history of that casino, but it is in fact a casino. Perhaps there's a few of you at home screaming that I shouldn't open this because maybe this hotel's out of business or something, and maybe this is worth a lot of money rolled the way it is, but we're going to go ahead and get into it and hopefully find some really cool old stuff. Well, just looking at edges, nothing is jumping out at me as terribly special. We'll look at the first couple of nickels and it'll tell us just how old this roll probably is. So 76, 79, 74, so a lot of these are in the 70s, which is not unusual. 74, 70, 73. So I'm getting the impression this roll may have been rolled up for quite some time. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and go off camera. If I find anything really interesting, I'll bring you guys in. Typically, it will be to bring you in for 50s, 30s, 40s, and 50s nickels. And as I say that, we have our first 50s nickel here. It's a 1959. And it is a Denver. Now, I will be getting out my nickel book and hopefully either doing upgrades or additions to that book. So stay tuned at the end to see what we can do to help finish off that album. But there we go. Let's put it on this side. 50s nickel, number 1. So we're still on the casino roll, and we have found another 50s nickel. It is a 1954. We got a good bit of wear. It is a 54D. So going through roll 2, I found one nickel that I wanted to put under the scope and just pose this question to you guys. As you can see here, we do have a 1999P. The detail on it is amazing. I'm going to keep it pulled aside because I'm sure it's going to be an upgrade to my book. But does this classify as full steps? I've got a little bit of damage over on the right-hand side near the bottom, but I believe you can still see all of the steps. So just curious from the community. To me, this would read full steps, but I'm not a huge nickel hunter. I do boxes from time to time. Never gotten one graded. Would love your opinion. Here we go with the next roll. I think this is roll 3 or 4. It's the next type of wrapper that we have. It's more of a turquoisey blue rather than a dark blue, and I already see we're stuffed with a penny, which doesn't make me happy. Is it at least copper? Tough to see. It is a 1990, so there's our first penny on the hunt. Hopefully we don't experience too much more of that. So this right here looks like it might be interesting, possibly a war nickel or just discolored. Nope, not a war nickel, just discolored. 1977. Moving on, this is a plastic roll, and I do remember for some time a lot of rolls did come in this plastic. I don't know why. It definitely would have made edge hunting much, much better because you could have just gotten your rolls and hunted and said there's no silver, so we're going to move on. And I don't know the best way to get the coins out of here because I'm not used to opening these. So let's see here. Oh, that'll work. I guess we're just going to have to rip it. Let's look at the first couple and then I'll fight with the roll off camera here. 85, 83, 75. You guys may know, when did they stop wrapping coins in plastic? That may tell us what the oldest coin might be. Well, there's a 96, so it may have well been into the 90s. So we are on our clear wrapped roll still. We're about 3/4 of the way through, and we have found our first 40s nickel of the hunt. It is a 1948. Let's check it out here. It is a Philly. Not a bad looking nickel. We'll add it to the board. And on to the next wrapper type. I'm hoping one of these we jump into and just find like a ton of 30s or 40s or 50s or buffalo nickels or something like that, because we happened upon some kind of collector. That would be wonderful. Well, there's a buffalo. Wrong year though, 2005. We'll check that one for the wounded buffalo. We're on roll 14, give or take. I have found a other 57, 58, 59 nickels, 2 or 3 of them since I last brought you in. They've been just random nickels in the middle of a bunch of new nickels. This one is a 1952, so this is our oldest 50s find, I should say, so far in the hunt. 1952. It is pretty beat up. The guy behind it looks pretty old. Let's check that out as well. Now, 1941. What was the other one? We had a 1948, so look at that, back-to-back, earliest 50s and earliest 40s, back-to-back, 41 Philly. Same roll, just a couple of nickels later, and this one actually came up reverse facing. I had to turn it over to see the date, but we do have a 1949. So we're filling up the board here. It's a 1949D. This keeps up. We'll have a whole run of 40s through end of the 50s, up through early 60. We're on roll 16, give or take, and we have found our now officially new oldest nickel of the hunt, a 1940. Looks like a Philly. So we're just a couple of rolls later, and we have found another 50s nickel, and this one came up obverse facing. Now, the 1955 is a semi-key date. The 55 Denver is not, so let's cross our fingers for a Philly. And it is a Denver. Oh well, it's still a nice-looking nickel, and it may be an upgrade to the album. So we're around roll 20 or 21, and I believe I found the roll that I was hoping to find in this box. I just started dumping these out, and you can have a look just at the color of them. We've got a 46, a 41, a 40, a 40, a 40. This probably came from some kind of coin collector, or just somebody that had this in their closet and found it and decided they would cash it in for the money. So I tell you what, let me go through this roll. I'm going to stack them up by date. So far, it looks like they're all 40s. And I'll bring you back in and we'll recap this one roll. But before we get to that, when I finished dumping out the roll, look what I found that was laying on top. We have our first buffalo of the hunt. It looks like it's a Philly. I don't see a mint mark on the back. Maybe that's a 19. That looks like a 1919. See if we can zoom in on that and see a little bit better. I know we're really close in now. It's almost too close, but I'd say that's a 1919. Well, that roll did not disappoint. We had something like 11 or 12 1940s. We did have a 40S. That was checked for the repunch mint mark or the S over S, and it didn't have it. We did have a 41 Philly and a couple of 41 Denvers. We had 242 Phillies. They were not war nickels. If you're new to coin roll hunting, 42 was a split year. The easiest way to tell is if the mint mark is large and above the Monticello building. So if you see a P, a D, or an S above that, you know that it is a 35% silver war nickel. Unfortunately, neither one of those were silver. We did have a whole bunch of 46 Phillies. We had a bunch of 47 Phillies and a couple 2 or 3 42. I think it was 2 47 Denvers. We had a 48 Philly in Denver and a 49 Philly in Denver. And any of these that did have repunch mint marks or over mint marks, they were all checked and they did not exist. Outside of that, the roll produced a couple of 64s and a couple of 60s. It was a 60 P&D and a 64 P&D, which means we had 36 40s nickels in that roll. That's a great roll. I hope we find a couple more like that inside the rest of this box. So this roll resembles the last one that had all those 40s nickels, and it's obviously short. I mean, if I hold this up against any other thing of nickels, so I definitely paid $2 for that, and there is not $2 worth of nickels in there. But it is what it is. Probably should have checked while I had it at the bank. Instead, I just paid for them and went on my merry way. Now, these do not look to be as old. There may be some old ones in here, though. One more hiding. Let's see here. We'll just grab a smattering of them and give it a quick check. So there's a 70 in pretty good shape. I might keep that aside for my book. 71, 67. 65, 64 Denver, and 64. Okay, so they were definitely older. They look like they were mainly in the mid-60s to the, kind of early 70s. I'll check those under the scope and get into the next roll. Okay, we are on to another one of those rolls. This one feels more like a full roll. No, it's short as well. Either that or this one's overstuffed. But I'm going to film opening all of these because that one had all of those 40s nickels in it. Let's check it out. Now, granted, oh, yep. Just look at that. First couple. 46, 41. So we may have another whole roll of 40s nickels. Let's see here. Look at the edges. Maybe we'll get lucky. We might have a war nickel. 1943. Look at that. We got a Philly mint mark up here. It is in awful shape. But we got silver. 1943 Philly war nickel. We'll leave it right here so you guys can see it. We got anything else? That's awesome. I love finding war nickels. It's been a good long while since I have found war nickels. But I think this is going to be another whole roll just based on the color of 40s nickels. I'll do the first couple here. 41, 46, 41. All right, well, there's a 56. 42, no mint mark. 62. Okay, so we're going to have a smattering here, but it looks like a lot of 40s. So like that last roll, let me get through these. I'll stack them up and come back and we'll do some counts. This is pretty cool. All right, well, there we have it. We have a 39. We have a 39 Philly in here. I want to check it real quick for the DDO. I'm not seeing it. So this is a 39 Philly. We did have 4 1940s, 4 1941s. Hang on. 5. What'd I do? I screwed something up. Hang on. 41. 41. 41. Yep. I messed something up there. Sorry. I think these were all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 1941s. A 1942 Philly. We had a couple 4 1946 Phillies. A 46 Denver. 47 Philly. 3 48 Phillies and a 48 Denver. A 49 Philly in Denver. A 1956 Denver. And then this 1962 could come down here. We had a couple of random 60s. A couple of 61s, a 62, and 3 64s. So again, another fantastic roll for 40s and 50s finds. I'll go through these and check for the, like I said, any kind of mint mark issues and varieties, and then I'll stack them up here and we'll keep going. So we've got like 14 or 15 rolls to go. It's been a little while since I've pulled you guys in. I have found a smattering of years and dates that I've already found, or I found the Philly when I showed you the Denver earlier, but I didn't feel like bringing you guys in because this video is going to be long enough as it is already. But I did want to stop here and bring you in because we have found now a new official oldest coin of the hunt, a 1938. Let me check it for the DDR, and it does not have it, it looks like. But we now have a 38 and a 39 on this hunt. Got a lot of finds today, and I do have a stack of coins back there that are potential upgrades for the book. So like I said, 14, 15 rolls left. Hopefully, I'll find a couple other goodies to bring you in on soon. So we are down to our last lonely roll of nickels, and I figured we would just do that together. Most of these sort of brown paper and blue, whatever this is, wraps have not been great. They've just been a good mix of current nickels and a couple of oldies. This has been a real interesting set of nickels, and maybe it's like most boxes I've had, and it's just been so long that I don't remember. But I seem to have a lot of like 2012s and higher, and a lot of 99s, and then a lot in the 70s. It's just been kind of weird with a lot of these other rolls, the other sort of blue and paper rolls. As you can see from here, I don't know if you can see the dates as fast as I'm going, but there's nothing terribly interesting in here so far. Okay, well this wraps up, well almost wraps up. Let's see here, 2000 and that is an 88. That wraps up the nickel hunt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick look through, let me zoom out a little bit here, through my nickel book, because I do still have a number of holes up through 58. And then after that, it's pretty much all proofs except for the 2009 Philly, which I've just been unable to find, which is right there. And I did pull a bunch of coins for upgrades, so I'm going to check those out. Once I kind of understand what's going in the book and what isn't, I'll come back, we'll do a full wrap-up, and call it a video. So give me just a moment. Okay, well, we're going to bring it in for the wrap-up, and I may get some of the numbers wrong, but in general, we had a really, really good hunt in these customer rolls. This was a ton of finds. We did have over $100 worth of nickels that we hunted. I don't have an exact count. It was probably somewhere around 110, maybe $114 worth of nickels. But we had a 38 and 39, both Phillies. We had a ton of the 1940 Phillies. We had a 41S. We had some 41 Philly and Denvers, lots of Phillies. Everything in this top row here is all Philly. Everything in the middle is all Denver, just to give you guys an idea. And this one lonely one is the only San Francisco that we had. But we had 41s, we had 42s, we had 46s. We had 47s, 48s, these 49s. And I think we jumped up into the 52. I'll zoom in here. Yeah, we had 52s, 53s, 54s. We did have 3 55 Denvers. I was a little disappointed because the 55 Philly is a semi-key date, and they were unfortunately all Denvers. Then, of course, we jump into the 56 Philly in Denver, 57 Philly in Denver. We had a bunch of 58 Phillies and a bunch of 59 Phillies, if I recall. If I haven't, oh, no, those are all Denvers. I'm sorry. They're supposed to be down here. I think the same with these. I think all of them were Denvers. But anyway, we did have a bunch of 50s as well. If we come up here to the top, we did have that 1919 Buffalo, and I've got to go find my Buffalo book. This may be a book filler. We did have one roll with a penny. Of course, our war nickel, 1943 Philadelphia. And believe it or not, I only have the 43 Philly and the 45 Philly, so that's not even a book filler for me. I did have one Canadian nickel from 2003. At least I believe it's Canadian. And it looks like I got a couple of metal detector finds. One was an 82. I think the other one was an 87. I just pulled them to put them up here to show that I did find somebody's metal detector finds. On top of that, we had a bunch of upgrades for the books. I'm not going to show myself punching them all down, but I've gone through the book to check. But 72, 73, what was that? It was an 87. We had a 90. I think both 92s, the Philly and Denver, the 93, the 94 Denver, the 96 Philly, and then down here the 97, the 98, and the 99. All of those are nice upgrades for my book. Most of them had full steps or very near full steps, which were big upgrades for my book. When I first did this, I literally filled the majority of this book in just a couple of boxes, and I still have a couple that could be really, upgraded pretty easily into the later years. But this book's coming along, like I said earlier in the video, after I want to say like 58 Philly, everything that's left is a proof. And the 2009 Philly is the only other non-proof coin to go in there. So with that said, we did have a ton of upgrades, ton of great finds. We did get a buffalo and we did get a silver, which makes this a really successful hunt in my book. So we're going to wrap it up here. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This has been one of my biggest nickel hunts in months because nickels have been very, very hard to get a hold of. I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys did too. Of course, this was part 2 of a customer wrap series. We're going to be moving into part 3 with the quarters here very shortly. So stay tuned for that video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and click that little bell and select all so you get notified when I do drop part 3. While you guys are down there, go ahead and click on that like button and leave me a comment. I'd really appreciate it. And if you like this video, just let me know. Let me know that down in the comments because it helps me keep going, lets me know what I'm doing right, lets me know what I'm doing wrong. So I hope you guys are all doing well. This coin roll hunt's been a lot of fun, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Take care, and till next time.